There are still 2 years left for the next US presidential election, but it seems like President Trump is already laying the foundation for a rerun in 2020. Yes, you heard that right. The US president today filed a statement of candidacy with the Federal Election Commission. But the letter says that the submission isn't a formal announcement of Trump's candidacy for the 2020 election. This comes after several reports emerged that the US president is looking to tap Brad Parscale to run his 2020 re-election campaign. Now, Parscale, remember, was the digital director of Trump's 2016 campaign. All right, so still 2 years to go, but seems like the US president is hitting the ground running. He seems to be laying the foundation for a rerun in 2020. He filed an statement of candidacy with the Federal Election Commission today, but the letter specifies that this submission isn't a formal announcement of Mr. Trump's candidacy for 2020. All right, Harry Horton, WION's correspondent, joining me live from Washington, D.C. for more on that story. Harry, good evening. What's the latest you have on this development?
Well, we have had a formal announcement from the Trump campaign that Brad Parscale will lead his efforts for re-election in 2020. A statement from the Trump campaign says that Mr. Parscale is a long-time digital marketing strategist for President Trump, who has continued to lead digital strategies for the campaign and the Republican National Committee. It includes many statements welcoming the announcement of Brad Parscale from members of Trump's family, from Eric Trump, from Jared Kushner, who of course is son-in-law of the president, and a senior White House advisor. It's no great surprise that Donald Trump has announced more news about his 2020 re-election bid. In fact, straight after his inauguration in the year 2017, he announced his campaign for 2020 and has held several fundraising rallies since then. It is slightly unusual to announce a campaign manager 3 years before the election, but this just shows you how much planning is going into this election in the year 2020 for President Trump.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was just wondering, where exactly does this announcement fall when we're looking at announcements for a rerun at the president's post? I mean, how long before his term came to an end did someone like President Obama announce his decision to run again?
Well, it's pretty common for first-term presidents to run again for a second term, and President Trump has repeatedly indicated over the past few months, over the past few years, that he will seek re-election in 2020. Again, no great surprise. It's pretty common to get these announcements sometime before the election. It does require lots of planning and so forth. We shouldn't be too surprised by this announcement today. The main focus, I think, for Donald Trump over the next few months, though, will be the elections that are happening this year in 2018. They are congressional elections to decide which party will control the Senate and the House. The Republicans have a wafer-thin majority currently in the Senate and the House. So I think the priority, and indeed in this statement from the Trump campaign, it echoes that. The priority for them at the moment is ensuring that they keep Republicans in Congress so that they can carry on getting President Trump's agenda through and get more laws passed here in the United States.
Sure, but do you find the timing of the announcement interesting, given the sort of conversation that's going around on gun control, on General John Kelly? I mean, the controversies around President Trump don't seem to go away, and perhaps this is an opportune moment to take the attention away from all the questions that are being asked about his presidency.
Well, certainly Donald Trump is no stranger to controversies. His first year in office has been dominated by dealing with controversies seemingly on a weekly, if not daily basis. And you're right, he's under intense pressure at the moment to take action on gun control. Certainly, he will want to try and put as much focus on his re-election bid in 2020 as possible. This statement from the Trump campaign touts heavily the economic measures that the president has taken so far and the tax reform measures he's taken so far. The White House sees that as the president's key achievements, and they want to try and focus on that as much as possible because they believe that that's an effective message to the American people to try and help them get re-elected. The other side, the Democrats will clearly take note of this. This gives them a better indication of what sort of challenge they might be up against in 2020 as they seek to try and regain control of the White House from the Republican Party. Several Democrats so far have certainly expressed an interest in running for president in 2020. There's been no formal announcements yet of Democratic candidates. So this announcement from the Trump campaign gives them a better idea of what they might be up against in 2020 and what sort of candidates and what sort of campaign they might need to put up to try and be successful in that election.
Harry Horton, thanks very much for bringing us that update from Washington, D.C.